The MSME are an important sector for the Indian economy and they have contributed immensely for the country's socio-economic development. MSME is a redefined sector which is going to make definitely a huge growth process altogether. So MSME sector has enormously contributed for the socio-economic development. Good morning and welcome to the third session, Chapter 3, Unit 1, First Semester B.Ca, Pre-Reforms of Indian Economy, where we're going to talk about the MSME sector. Now, this is one sector which is a very important sector and it's considered to be the heartland of growth. Why? The medium, small and the micro enterprises contribute nearly 8% of the country's GDP. So the micro, small, medium sector contribute nearly 8% of India's GDP, which is a very big contribution, followed by 45% of the manufacturing output and almost 40% of the country's export. So it would not be wrong to refer them as the backbone. Definitely, they are the biggest support for India's GDP. Now look at this sector. This sector might comprise of smaller units. They might not be the names that are known by the people out there, but definitely this sector contributes to the majority for the Indian economy. Followed by the government of India has introduced this micro, small, medium enterprise in agreement with the MSME Act of the 2006. This will primarily engage in production, in manufacturing, processing and preservation of goods and commodities. Now, the MSME sector is a very specialized sector that consists of smaller units of organization which are involved into production, which are involved into agro-processing. They're also involved into small-time services also, and they provide a huge support to the major industries in India. Though they might produce ancillary parts, they might produce smaller units, but the significant contribution that has been given by this unit in terms of growth is really commendable. Followed by the MSME are an important sector for the Indian economy and they have contributed immensely for the country's socio-economic development. It not only generates employment opportunities but also works hand in hand towards the development of the nation's backward and the rural areas altogether. So I would definitely say that this segment has got the potential what other segments cannot think about. Why? Because this segment not only generates employment but also gives a significant push to the output which will generate revenue to our country. Now, if you look into the opportunity that has been created by an MSME sector, that is tremendous when compared to the large-scale industries in India. Every district, every state of our country has got various sections and sectors of MSME that contribute directly to the economy. And these sectors are typically bent upon the skill development of India. In fact, the MSME sector actually contributes to a large scale in terms of the skill development process. According to the annual report of government on the 2018-19, we have more than 6 lakh units of MSME working in different parts of our country. Followed by the MSMEs redefined. Why do we want to redefine it? Because they're not just going to be people who are going to contribute on the ancillary, on the growth sector, but they are also supposed to be classified as service providing enterprises. There are many small scale IT, ITES, BPOs and sectors which come under this particular classification and provide a huge amount of support to the government and to the system. So that's why I would say that MSME is a redefined sector which is going to make definitely a huge growth process altogether. Followed by the highlights of MSME, the Atman Plan, which has been started, the self-reliance scheme of India, which is going to be spoken about. This is a scheme that is actually trying to make us understand the growth segmentation very, very clearly. Why? Because if we start understanding this segment, we have seen that there is a huge amount of growth process that is coming into picture. Now, the most important thing that I would like to talk about here is that when we talk about self-reliance, which means to say that India is able to create its own opportunity, India is able to chalk out its own plan for growth, India is able to keep itself standing as an example for other countries in this world, then MSME is the answer for it. MSME sector has given the new definition of growth for our country, and definitely this sector will be the next emerging sector in the coming 10 years. So definitely we have to give a lot of prominence and importance to this MSME hold altogether. Now, followed by, now what is the benefits that we are seeing here is that a provision of collateral-free loans given to MSME, which is definitely a very big push that has been given by Government of India. Arrangement of loans worth up to 3 lakh crores. Now, you can see the significance that has been given to this sector. 3 lakh crore coming in, that's a huge amount of money that we are talking about. Provided with also to get a moratorium for 12 months. Okay, we do understand sometimes that there might be a fall in this industrial segment. There might be a situation when this industry can even come down. There might be backlashes happening in this segment, but nevertheless, the government is ready to give a moratorium period here, considering the manufacturing and services as the same entity. Earlier, what we used to do is that we had a separate phase for the manufacturing sector, we had a separate phase for the service sector, but then when it comes to the MSME factor altogether, we have seen that both of them can grow together at the same phase, at the same velocity. Now, MSM is granted repayment tenure for 48 months, which is absolutely fantastic. MSME has also assured 100% credit guarantee. Brilliant amount of work here. Why? Because 100% credit guarantee means that this sector is definitely going to work, and it's going to create a huge amount of importance, a huge amount of push to the economy altogether. Now, reclassification of MSMEs will benefit approximately 45 lakh units. Now, that is a big number that we are talking about. 45 lakh units are going to be benefited because of the MSME process. Now, this is what we are talking about as the economic growth altogether. Why? Because this will definitely make us understand how the push is going to come forward in terms of growth, in terms of the economy factors altogether. Followed by the features of MSME. They are working for the welfare of the workers and artisans. They can also help them by giving them employment, so new employment opportunity, primarily as we have spoken about, by providing loans and other services. So what we have seen here very, very clearly is that you need to see that you are trying to give in maximum push every day by providing lot of loans and services every day, so that you will be able to see that the employment also generated and also the self-employment units, that is the entrepreneurship level, also starts moving up. Now, MSMEs will be also provided with credit limit and funding support from the banks, which will push it to a very great extent. Followed by, they promote entrepreneurship as well as upgradation of skills. That is very much needed today. Now, when we are talking about information technology related skills, whenever we are talking about CAD, we are talking about anything that has got to do with information technology related, let's say AI or the data analytics coming up. Now, those kind of skills need special importance in our economy. Why? Because when you are attaching the entrepreneurship skill with these kind of specialized factors, automatically we will be able to push ourselves, we will be able to launch ourselves better in the market, and we will be able to get more opportunities for growth in the coming years. Followed by, they also support the upgrading development in terms of technology infrastructure factor. MSME is also known to have provided reasonable assistance for improved access for domestic as well as that of the export factors, modern testing facilities which have been coming up, and the recent trends in terms of the product development, innovation and entrepreneurship factors altogether. Now, when we see this, Earlier, what used to happen in the MSME sector, they were restricted to certain industries like that of only packaging or probably transport or ancillary auto parts and other things. But today, MSME have come up in a whole range, in a full functional manner, where they are able to support large scale. In fact, I would also say that they are able to stand alone in the economy as a separate sector and provide a challenge to the upcoming industries altogether. So what I would like to say here is that with the improved access to the export markets, I think MSME would be able to provide a new range of business development to India. We have been speaking about Invest India, and we have also been speaking about the IPO segment boom that has been seen in the modern economy. Now we are able to see that there are several medium and small industries which are launching up their IPOs in the market, getting themselves listed, which shows the capacity of these companies to become the modern industries of India. In fact, they could also become the next Reliance, the next Tata, or the next Aditya Birla Group altogether. So somewhere with the quality certification, with a better innovation and better inroads in terms of research and development, these medium and small scale industries could become the larger part of the economy story tomorrow. Followed by the role of MSME in the Indian economy. Since its formation, it has been a highly dynamic sector. They produce and manufacture n number of variety of products. They have helped to promote the village, the rural segment, especially when we talk about the khadi village, the coir industries and other factors. They are concerned with the growth factor to a very large extent, and they're also been giving the state government and the stakeholders with the upcoming of rural areas. One commendable part that I will always say here is that the amount of push that they have given to rural India cannot be given by any other sector in this. So definitely I would say that this has been the sector which has promoted the growth to the maximum extent as far as possible. Now, we have also seen that they played an essential role in providing employment opportunities. They have also been able to give a push to entrepreneurship with the low capital cost compared to the large scale industries that we are talking about, and they act as a complementary factor altogether when compared to that of the larger one. So MSME sector has enormously contributed for the socio-economic development. Now that is the kind of development that we are talking about, where we have both the societal model kept in mind as well as the economic and the model of monetary growth that we have kept in our mind. Now with that, we also see that they continue to play an essential role in the different areas, especially in the low-lying areas, in the areas where the mobility factors have been lesser, the government concentration has been less. MSMEs have definitely provided an answer. Their contribution for the domestic production has been simply superb, because they have been able to go further, pull all those areas forward and provide a greater amount of opportunity, a greater scope of development altogether. With that, I come to the end of this session. I hope and believe that the factors that have been told in this particular session would be of great help to you, both in practical walk of life as well as from a theoretical standpoint. In the upcoming session, we will be talking about the public sector and their economy and growth altogether. But until then, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay enlightened forever. Thank you once again for joining me today on this wonderful session.